Last week, you guys seemed to love that I covered the top 10 most rare AK skins in the game, and some of you asked to cover this for more key weapons, and that is the plan. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 most rare AWP skins that exist in the game, and honestly, I think some of these, or at least the order, will be a surprise. Now, to cover the housekeeping for this, I have used the float database because that is the most consistent sort of way to find this out. It doesn't include every single one that's registered, but it gives us a good overview. And I think I'd say the top 10 is probably pretty much bang on accurate here. And all the prices are also taken from CS2 just for ease because it's a super popular trading platform, but it's not an ad. All that being said, let's look at what comes in at number 10, and it is the CMYK. This is the AWP from the graphic collection. A lot of conversation on whether or not this should have been a covert. I personally like the skin, but I don't think it was covert rarity. I think Classified would have done the job. There are 19,000 of these registered on the database. Obviously, the graphic collection has since been removed from the armory, so you cannot craft any fresh outside of trade-ups, which means, I think even with, like, say, trade-up fillers, I don't think we're going to see a crazy rise in the amount of CMYKs. This will remain a fairly rare skin, and it's one that I do actually quite like. Now, when I said about surprises in here, this is one that surprised me. I didn't expect to see the Snake Camo be in the top 10 for most rare. This has 17,000 registered on the database, and I'm not going to go over prices fully for each one here. You'll see them on the screen as I talk about it. It's also just expensive for what it is, but I guess that has to come with the rarity. I say this one was a real surprise to see anywhere near the top 10. I kind of just forgot that it existed. Maybe that sort of speaks about how rare it is because you don't see it, but yeah. Now, when it comes to items that have a souvenir, like the Desert Hydra, that are coverts, I kind of expect them to be mostly rare, so this one holds up. We're looking at what, just shy of 15,500 registered on the database. This is also like I think it's fair to say a top 3 up in the game. It looks incredibly good. It is number 8 in the list here for the most rare, and if you have this in your loadout, it is absolutely a winner. Like, amazing skin, and obviously being a bit rare adds a bit extra to it. And then an AWP that I almost never see, it's the Silk Tiger. There are 15,300 of these or so registered on the database. Now, I'm aware that it's a rarer skin, and that's why we don't see it as much. I also think value for money is not that great on it, but there you go. If you want like a skin that's not got a crazy amount of supply, and you don't see that often, also it's pattern based with some cool patterns, maybe this is something as a collector you'd want to have a look at. Now, this next one should have an asterisk on it because it is one of the newer options in the game. It is the Long Dog from the Train collection. However, that being said, this is readily available to try and hit in the Armory Pass, and there's 12,145 of them that have been registered. The one thing that could obviously change massively here is how long is Train going to be in the map pool for? If Train remains to be in the map pool for the next 5 years, that means we're going to have 10 majors worth of supply for it. We'll gradually increase it. Also, how long does it live in the Armory Pass? I think it'd be interesting to check in like 2 years time, come back at the end of 2027 and see where this is in regards to supply. Then my mission is to not rant about how much I hate this skin, but the Fade is the 5th most rare AWP in the game, and it has 11,610 of them registered on the float database, and this is the last one that's going to be 5 figures. We get into super rare territory after this. I will say the price this is not worth it at all. Now, I think there's an assumption that this will be the most rare AWP in the game, and it's not actually. The Dragon Lore comes in at number 4. There are 6,600 of these registered on the database, maybe a bit more in hidden inventories, but it's not going to move the needle that much. It is the second most expensive AWP in the game, which maybe is, and also it's just the icon. Like, this is the iconic skin. Like, this really is just the iconic skin from Counter-Strike over the years, so everyone just kind of pins it as being the most rare. But there you go, one of the fun things of this is it's actually not even cracking top 3 when it comes to rarity. Now, for the Medusa, I knew it was rare, I knew it was going to be in the top 10, I didn't think we'd be talking 3rd place. 4,600 of these registered. If you look at just registrations, under 5k of these exist, so if you own one, if you have it equipped in the loadout, that is a special thing, and you guys better be enjoying it. It's also quite pricey. I always complain about no scope design, but there you go, your 3rd most rare AWP. And I also think we even have a surprise at number 2. The Gungnir is the 2nd one, with 3,400 of these on the database. This is the most expensive AWP in the game. Personally, I visually think it's better than the Dragon Lore. However, I appreciate that the Dragon Lore, in regards to like iconic status, normally edges out for that. But there you go. The 2nd most rare one is the most expensive in the game, and it is an absolutely incredible skin. But that leaves the question, what is the rarest AWP skin in Counter-Strike 2? We're getting to the end of 2025. I don't know if we're going to get another AWP skin added before the end of the year. This is the most rare op skin. It's the Prince. There are less than 3,000 of these registered on the database, and it's actually not the most expensive on this list. It's actually not even in the top 3 most expensive, just from a quick glance here, which is kind of interesting. Obviously, some of that's down to visuals and community sentiment and community value, but it's just a little bit weird that like the absolute most rare op is like a fifth of the price of the second rarest op, or a quarter of the price of the second rarest op. Kind of an interesting one, but there you go. Did you guys expect the Prince to be number 1? Be really interested to know what you guys thought the top 3 was going to be, and also just then like maybe what your favorite op from the top 10 is. But then, much like last week, I do want to show the 3 most common ops in the game, just to give you guys a bit of a contrast. Now, there's a good few ops that have over 1 million in supply, but these 3 take it to the next level. The Worm God has 2.2 million of these on the database. That is an absolute shit ton, and it explains why it's an under $5 skin. Also, visually kind of explains it too. Then one that I really don't like, the Capillary. There are 3.7 million of these on the database. Now, this is a very entry-level, budget-friendly skin. That's kind of one of the plus sides of having so much supply, is it keeps prices like these quite cheap, which means people that are just working on super tight budgets or only want to pick up 1 or 2 like weapon skins for their key items, they can without having to break the bank. Now, this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the AK rarity video before, it will be linked down below from last week, but we have repeat winners in regards to the finish. The AWP Safari Mesh is the most common op in CS2. There are almost 5.4 million of these registered. Now, it ranges from 11 cents all the way to over $6, depending on the condition you go for. It is a dreadful op. I hate it. I hate Safari Meshes, but it is, there you go, the most common item in the game when it comes to ops. So just to remind you, the Prince was the winner. The Prince is the most rare op in Counter-Strike 2, and the Dragon Lord didn't even crack top 3, which I just find kind of interesting. Now, obviously, this is kind of like a fun series where we're just checking the databases and just sort of giving an update of like where things are. And as I say, I do think it'll be cool to come back in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, and maybe just see how this has changed. Like, how much extra supply have we got from trade ups? Has anything else come into the game that's like beating these items on like rarity and legendary status? That would be cool to see. As I say, let me know which one was your favorite from those top 10s in the comment down below. Big thank you to the YouTube members for supporting the channel. It is greatly appreciated. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.